to me, it is a replay, it is a reversal of the Opium Wars, which
Mm,
still is a
interesting.
major a subject that people are taught in China. President Xi is obsessed with it. In fact, President Xi's father, who President Xi, of course, reveres, he built a big mausoleum in his honor. His father was a revolutionary with Mao. One of his father's most famous acts was as a 14-year-old boy, he tried to poison his teacher for failing to be sufficiently revolutionary. And President Xi thinks that's kind of a cool thing. So it indicates to me where he is as far as, the use of certain techniques, what is acceptable and what is not.
Yeah. And they explain their this chip on their shoulder real quick about the Opium Wars. Most Americans have no idea what that's all about, and yet it's front and center in the Chinese mind, apparently, of how we've wronged them. They've been
Yeah.
mad at us for a long time. It's like having a spouse that they've been mad at you this whole time and you didn't even know it. That's sort of like the last 50 years with China.
Yeah, it's so, if in the early 1800s, China was actually doing quite well as a country and as an economy. And then primarily Britain started the opium trade. And a lot of Chinese became addicted. At the high point, it's estimated that 25% of all Chinese nationals in China were taking opium regularly. And what happened? It went from being a pretty major, a vibrant economy on the global stage to the end of the 1800s to being this backwater, divided, broken country. And this is what they regarded as the century of humiliation. So
Mm,
they see the drug trade and the fact that the UK engaged in it. When the Chinese authorities tried to block it, Britain threatened and sometimes used military force to keep that market open. So for China, in their history, this is kind of the pivotal event that took China from being a relatively prosperous power to becoming a third world country within a century. They blame it on the drug trade, and they believe that I think that fentanyl is an opportunity to sort of repay us for it, us being the West. And you see elements of this, by the way, Congressman. There's a Chinese individual named Juan, who in 2021 was sanctioned by the Biden administration as part of the Treasury Department initiative to put economic sanctions on those involved in the fentanyl trade. He's a drug dealer, criminal guy who also goes by the name Broken Tooth. He was a senior advisor to the consultative body to the CCP. We slapped sanctions on him for his involvement in the fentanyl trade. 3 months after that, he was given an award by the CCP, and they gave a rousing speech where he said he was proud of what he was doing with fentanyl because it was getting back at the West for what had happened in the opium trade. So they're open about it in terms of how they talk
right.
to each other. They certainly don't say that directly to us.